Hey everyone, I'm Junebug, and I am joined by some of the very important people behind Nouns. People that maybe you don't know in the Melee community, but these are very, very important figures. They do a lot there behind Nouns GG. Uh, they are Shadow Cabal. No, we'll cut that. um, but yeah, we'll start with somebody who's a little bit more well known, at least in the Melee community. I'll throw it to Mr. Ohan the Man.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I like to think I'm probably the most maybe well known to the melee crowd of our group here today, potentially. Um, so yeah, I mean, I've been running melee tournaments now for or Smash tournaments for just over 10 years. I ran my first when I was 15. I'm now 26 and old, but yeah, just after COVID, I started running the Tipped Off series, which was pretty cool. I think around that time, I had been introduced to Nouns through actually Aklo being sponsored, which is pretty funny. He had joined pretty recently. I think I hit up Peter originally over here to my side and just kind of was like, hey, we're doing this thing. I think it's really cool. And I think that was just over 3 years ago. Now I think it's actually been a pretty decent amount of time. But yeah, I mean, since then we've just been doing some really cool work, especially with players and especially events, right? That's more of the realm in which I operate. And I think we have some really cool stuff upcoming. We've been doing some really, really cool stuff, so I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah, no, we've really had some cool events this year. Shoutouts to Tipped Off, which just happened. A very exciting event. One of the best grand finals that I've seen in modern Melee. Um, but yeah, very, very fun. And next, we're gonna throw to somebody that has a very long career in esports, Mr. Peter Pandam.
Yes, I'm Peter, better known as PPD. You might know that name if you followed Dota 2 at all. I was a professional Dota player for, I don't know, 10 years or something. My first esports LAN event was DreamHack Winter 2011, playing Heroes of New Earth. So, yeah, way back in the day. And yeah, I've been kind of helping and working here at Nouns for over 3 years at this point. I think spring of 2022 is when I first got involved. And yeah, not a great melee player, but I have watched a lot of top eights. I watched a lot during the Armada era in like 2018, 2019, I think it was. And yeah, even when I was sitting at Dota tournaments, I was still occasionally catching, catching a top eight here and there. So very, very passionate about esports and gaming, and I've interacted with it in many, many different ways, and getting more involved with Smash and in particular live events has been uniquely challenging and very interesting to kind of try and make it happen.
Yeah, I can personally vouch for your Sheik though. You have we did kind of cook in this doubles grand finals at was it Nouns Invitational last year? Yeah, no. But next we will go to Sam, the brain and the brawn behind Nouns GG.
Hi everyone. Yeah, I'm Sam. I lead engineering for Nouns GG. Um, I'm probably the worst Smash player here, but I am a gamer. I come from mainly like a Rocket League background, kind of as a casual fan in the esports side of things. I joined Nouns GG through the broader Nouns community as a developer, kind of doing some side projects there, and actually um, found my way in because I noticed the Nouns GG website originally was this really crappy Notion page, and so yeah, I found this like really cool opportunity to come, build something bigger.
Yeah, and Nouns GG has had a lot of cool features built in this year. Shout outs to Nouns Gold, shout outs to wagering, all the rounds that we've been able to do and get melee players out to events. It's been a very cool thing to see just flourish. So yeah. Last but not least, we have Sasquatch, who is a veteran in both the nouns and the esports spaces.
Hello, hello. Yes, I'm Sasquatch or Gage, and I've been around in Nouns since day one of the project. And prior to that, I have an esports background playing StarCraft 2 professionally. Back on the day, I was on Complexity Gaming and some other top StarCraft 2 teams like Root Gaming or yeah, a few others. And I was very fortunate enough to be able to combine nouns and what the DAO was doing with esports, and we can get a little bit more into that. But yeah, just been in and out of esports throughout the years. Love Smash Bros. Being a StarCraft 2 pro and like being at MLGs back in the day, definitely got my overlap of like Smash Bros. And like just sharing events, and used to have a mutual friend with Ken back in the day, and got some experience in Melee through him. And yeah, I always appreciated the game because it's one of those esports where you never know who's going to win to the very last second. And I come from like StarCraft, where sometimes you can tell very early on who's probably going to win. And yeah, I think that that element of the game in Melee keeps things so entertaining all the time.
Yeah, it's truly one of the most exciting games to watch. Yeah, thank you for that, Sass. Sasquatch, would you like to talk about a little of what Nouns does and how you all got into the Melee scene?
Yeah, I mean, so first of all, um, the Nouns GG group, this esports kind of subdivision of Nouns, is really just a bunch of people that are part of this greater Nouns community. So, we're all fans of gaming and esports and Smash Melee, and the greater Nouns ecosystem is a fan of a lot of things. There's skateboarding, there's a coffee shop, there's a film festival, a deli in Melbourne. They donated to scientists to name a species of frog. They really do so much different things that it's like kind of it's all over the place, and it's exciting. And when I found Nouns and saw that they were trying to build this kind of super brand, I thought esports would be a really interesting way to endear people to the brand, and also like a very unique marketing vehicle for the project. And so, I was able to convince NounsDAO to vote to support a Dota team originally. And we had quite a good run with that Dota team. Through different kind of rosters, we made it to the international, or like the international season 3 times, the 3 seasons we competed. We also had a Counter-Strike team, and, we dabbled in a bunch of other games. Pokemon Unite comes to mind, which we still have a roster, representing Nouns. And as we were just kind of receiving budget from Nouns to support different games, obviously Smash Melee came to mind. And fortunately we had some people in our community who kind of pointed our way towards Aklo. So we were able to reach out to, I think it was Athene initially, who was representing Aklo. Shout out to Athene. And connected us with this young prodigy. And I think at the time he was ranked 15, which was kind of this like, for us it felt like a cool like sweet spot of like this up and coming player who still has a lot to prove, and was also very interested in working with us. And yeah, obviously we still have that relation today. But with Aklo came, I think, more interest from the Smash Melee community and what Nouns, or not Nouns GG at the time being called Nouns Esports, was up to. And once we started running some prop house rounds, which were kind of these open funding rounds, which has now evolved into Nouns GG rounds, that's where Ohan came in proposing. And yeah, maybe Peter, you want to kind of pick up from here, but that's kind of where our tournament arc began, I would say.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, we had we get kind of like 2 rounds running. We put like $5,000 in each bucket. 5,000 was for players to find sponsorship, and the other 5,000 was for event operators to find sponsorship. And lo and behold, Ohan showed up, a complete stranger to us, right? He knew Nouns through Aklo, for example, and I think he asked for $1,800 for Nouns to sponsor Tipped Off 14, and we all voted it through. We said yes, and that was the beginning of our relationship with Ohan. And he was still pretty like at a distance. I think I was trying to like help him figure out how we were gonna like integrate the sponsor. I don't think it went super smoothly. I think I messed it up probably. But that was the beginning of the relationship, and Ohan, a curious fellow, kind of dove in, and he's pretty smart, so he kind of figured out how it works. And I think his curiosity got the best of him, and he found himself getting deeper and deeper into Nouns. And we started to collaborate. And in the middle of 2024, we submitted another proposal to run the Nouns Fest showcase, the Nouns Invitational, and is that it? Am I forgetting something?
And sponsoring Tipped Off last year. Yep.
And sponsoring Tipped Off. Yeah. So we shipped the prop and got Ohan, to eventually like started working at Nouns. He started taking a salary, getting paid to work at Nouns. And he was finally like welcomed into the fold. And coming into this year, right, we had to, we kind of had to decide what direction we were going to go in, and live events and hosting, seemed very plausible only because Ohan was here and he was capable of doing it. And yeah, it's just kind of fun to think that if Ohan hadn't applied to that prop house round for $1,800, we would not be here today hosting, our 4 events this year that we're hosting.
Yeah, 100%. Like when I talk to people, especially people in the Nouns community, about what we're doing here, right? I always say like I'm kind of the success story in a way, right? Or like I was someone that was kind of brought in through rounds, right? Initially back when it was a prop house round, and like all the amazing and like wonderful things we've been able to do over like literal years now, right? Are because of that. So I think it's pretty cool that like I'm kind of almost an example of it working in practice.
Yeah,
Made
no,
that like domino meme of like Ohan applying for the tipped off or the prop house round into tipped offs at the zoo.
Yeah, exactly.
Non-invitational in Japan.
yeah, Ohan was also indirectly involved in getting me in Nouns. I think we were talking initially, I think maybe 2 years back. I think we were also talking through Athene, and we just didn't continue conversation. But
Yeah, I can speak to that. I remember Athene was like, we obviously had Akla signed, and I think Athene was just like, "Oh, do you guys want to, have more Smash Bros. Players? What's better than one player? It's probably two."
you want a
And I've
Donkey
got
Kong?
this, I've got this crazy monkey player. I can sell to you, like. And to be honest, I didn't know you very well at the time. I'm personally just a fan of you know, like mid-tier characters and like unique characters kind of having like a really solid player behind them. And so, like I'm a fan of Axe for that reason, and playing
Right.
Pikachu. So it was cool to see a Donkey Kong player out there. And then June, after I think you had some great tournament results, it was like, oh, maybe we should be working with June. And we also got to meet you at some events, and like I think it just felt like, oh, we like working with June.
Yeah, no, it was nice meeting you guys, and that streak at the was that last year, like or like the beginning of summer last year. That was perfect timing with the pickup too. I think that was like as we were starting to work with little nouns, and then I think for this year I'm on the main roster, the big nouns. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, that's
that
pretty
was
funny.
fun.
I can speak to that for sure because it's like, I really wanted to bring on more Smash people, right? I really thought that, things were going really great. We were hosting these events. I thought the community was really being supportive of us. So I went and I wrote a little Nouns prop to be able to bring on yourself and Plup. And I think we also ended up doing the Nouns Invitational after party. We had those super cool, what was it, like the baseball button-up jerseys, right? That honestly, I think we should bring those back, Loki. Those were super sick. But
I
yeah, like that
really
was
like
just
that. This is one of my
they were
favorite
so good.
jerseys
They
I've
were
ever
so
gotten.
good,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah, we cooked. But Yeah, I think that's just like part of the beauty of the process, right? It's like I was able to kind of go out and do something I was passionate about doing, and kind of create something like really unique and cool just based off of what I wanted to see in like my vision. So
Yeah, literally, like nouns is like what nouns is just what people choose to propose. So, esports and gaming could have not been a thing if we didn't create these like proposals and put just time into like writing them and asking for a budget and saying, "Hey, we're gonna go and like do these things on behalf of the greater nouns community." And yeah, like um, through these previous esports proposals, you in turn learn about nouns, and then you create your own proposal. And then Junebug is now, you know, repping like, yeah, it is magical for sure.
for sure.
Yeah, I really like what like Nouns bringing players has enabled the melee ecosystem to like achieve, because I mean, don't park on the grass. Nikki was a round sponsored player, and it ended up going on one of the craziest runs we've ever seen from an ice climber. And ultimately, may have made his case to be brought on, this year as when he won the round to join the roster. Um, but yeah, an incredible run that couldn't have happened without Nouns funding players. And we also had the Plup run at Genesis, like the
Yeah.
one of the wildest runs of all time in Rivals 2. Nobody expected him to win. Well, actually, some people were saying that he was gonna win.
I knew.
Ohan was saying he was. I was gonna give you your props. I was like, Ohan was like, yeah, he's probably gonna win.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's so cool, right? Because like me, being in the melee space for so long, like really opportunities to do cool stuff. Like the resources are super scarce, right? Whether you're a player or a TO or really anything, right? Like it's mostly just summoned from just like goodwill of the community, right? Which is great, but it's very very few and far between. So that's something I'm really proud of. Is like we have given people kind of the opportunity to live their dream in a sense, right? Like Rix came to America for the first time for Tipped Off, right? He, got some really good wins, right? I think he beat, like Wally and somebody else. Like he did really good, and like he was like, yeah, this is like, one of the best weekends of my life getting to come and do this, and like that to me makes it like all worth it, right? That like these people that normally never get an opportunity like this, like are getting to live their dream in a sense.
Yeah, it's really funny, just like the traveling with the German players, because it's just like, me, Aklo, Nikki, Rix. It's just like you got somebody from Virginia, New York, and two people from Germany. Like, what's going on here? Only in Super Smash Brothers apparently do you get that eclectic of a
Yeah.
mix.
Well, that's what's beautiful, right? Because it brings everybody together. We're a bunch of people where we would like never be in the same room together under like any normal circumstances, right? But this, children's party game from 2001 played on a 300-pound television, like that has somehow like summoned us to like the same spot together, which I think is really, really beautiful.
Well, well said, Ohan. What do we want to talk
Thank you.
about
Thank you.
next?
I think it's worth talking about, what our goals are,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Like I think we haven't really defined exactly, Sask I think touched on it a little bit about like marketing and brand building in the space, but I
So
think
future plans or
I mean, yeah, future plans and like
goals.
yeah, like our goals essentially I think
Okay.
are good. Um, and then I think we should let Sam talk a little bit about what he's trying to build on the website. He hasn't spoke much, so
Hmm.
maybe you could prompt us like, let's see,
Yeah, we could just talk about Nouns G. Like we could just make that a talk. Just talk about Nouns GG. And then Sam could um, add that.
you say
I think it's
something
cool to
like,
highlight like the ethos of like the community deciding and like empowering the community.
Yeah.
Just on
There's
that topic.
also a bridge from like we were talking about players getting funded through rounds. I think that's a way to get to Nouns
Right.
GG from there.
yeah. So
You could bridge
why don't
from
you
the
talk?
like the prop house. Like prop house kind of spawned now, Juju.
No, like Well, no, like how June was just talking about how like Nikki just got
Yeah,
this
right.
amazing
just
success
how I'm
story,
gonna
and like
toss it to yeah.
ba- basically like the community, enables or the community gets to decide who's getting supported, and then that person in turn, in the case of Nikki, had like a breakout moment in his career, and that's like an amazing story, in my opinion. So
Yeah, it was really really cool to watch, and many other players have come and got to live the dream, as Ohan said, and like have some stellar performances and enjoy tournaments, and that is due to rounds which are occurring on Nouns GG, and we will let our expert talk a little bit about what is going on Nouns GG. Sam.
Yeah, so now GG was kind of spawned from Prop House. We kind of hit our limitations with it, specifically in like the onboarding side of things. It was just too complicated to get people to really understand and use it. And so that's where rounds came from. It's a very similar concept. Essentially, the idea is that you engage in our community, you're active, joining community calls every week, chatting in the community. Basically, being active gives you more voting power over these rounds. And so it really gives the community a voice in kind of decision making we do, whether that's sponsoring players, sponsoring events, really anything that we're activating on, we can give the community a voice and give it to the people who are the most active and engaged.
Yeah, that seems like a great way to reward people for interacting with the community that they're a part of, and the incentives. I mean, personally, I love the wagering aspect. That stuff is happening behind the scenes at every Smash tournament anyway. So, I don't think I've seen as crazy parlays as going on in wagering. I don't know. Nobody's side betting on whether Aklo is going Link in person, but the fact that you can do it on Nouns GG, very very cool.
I keep saying we need a green visor piece of merch to go along with this, right? So I can do the bets IRL in person, the wagering.
Oh yeah. Oh my god. Just need somebody at the front of the crowd. Oh, Peter, you're on mute. You're
Test. Hi.
okay. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
back.
I want to add a little bit because I think you guys are talking like on the software side. Like yes, we we have a website, right? We're trying to get people to come to use it, right? Ultimately, like the goal there is just to be innovative and create like better programming for people to come click buttons and have fun. We want to, as you mentioned, like empower communities to sort of collectively make decisions. And part of that is measuring how engaged and active people are and giving them a voice respective to that. So, like as Sam mentioned, like if you live and breathe Smash, right? Like maybe you should get more votes, right, on who and what your community is funding or who's getting that opportunity of a lifetime to come to Tipped Off, for example. So we're going to continue to try to scale and reach as many people as possible. And ultimately, we want our software to be used by other people to do the exact same thing. So us operating in Smash, running these events, sponsoring these players, right? Smash is really like our testing grounds, and it's been a really really awesome place to kind of partner with a really engaged and passionate community that we personally enjoy being a part of, to really just give it life, break it, right, get us some good user feedback, and just help us build something that maybe other gaming communities might enjoy in the future. Yeah, so like we're in Smash, right? We're building software and supporting Smash players and Smash events, right? We do support other games and other communities to some extent, but not to the same extent that we support Smash. And ultimately, like Smash is kind of our testing grounds for our software. But in order to succeed and survive long term, we need to scale outside of this community. We've just found that the Smash community in particular is really passionate and engaged and willing to, participate in and try new things. So it's been really great to be a part of this community because of that. But it's also just a community that we personally enjoy being a part of. Um, but yeah, eventually, like we need our software to be used by more communities outside of Smash Melee. It'd be great if we could just focus on Smash Melee forever, but it's just not the reality. I think Melee will always have a special place at Nouns. But in order for us to keep this thing going, we have to figure out how to reach like new horizons, so to say.
Yeah, and I'll say real quick. I think one of the beautiful things about Melee that's really made it very effective to work in the space is how decentralized it is, right? Like we've talked about how something maybe like Dota or like a bigger esports, potentially you kind of have to go generally through the developer, right? The publisher in a lot of ways. And there's generally already really, really big established actors in those spaces, right? But Melee being such a, deprived, right? Very decentralized community. We have seen that Melee players just even prior to our doings have been very prone to supporting and just like interacting as a community and like trying new things, right? So I think that's part of the reason we've seen such amazing feedback from this community specifically.
Relies on it, right? Like without that community support, it would just cease to exist. As you mentioned, like there's, one tournament shuts down, another one pops up. That's just the way things go in Smash. And, the beauty of it is that you can find a Smash local or a regional just in about every pocket of this country. So, good luck, right? Nintendo trying to shut it down, right? It's just not going to happen. Yeah, yeah, that's not something you could say for many other esports out there.
Yeah, the grassroots community definitely one of the best aspects about Smash. Dev support does have problems in other ways, but man, do we have passion? Does this community run on passion?
Yeah, and I think it's it was just immediately obvious to us like how engaged the Smash community was like around when we really started these like votes about who's going to receive like travel support, who's going to or what tournaments are going to be supported. The Smash community was always turning up and like really weighing in on like yeah, who's receiving that support. And honestly, that's like how a community should be. It shouldn't be top down and enforced by the developer of the game and like all the rules are set in place and like everything is just decided by that developer. It should be decided by the community. And like Sam, you can chime in, but like I think like the core thesis is always with Now GG has always been enabling the community to make more decisions and like have greater empowerment in what is actually happening.
Yeah, we're pretty much trying to take what we've learned with our community on Nouns GG and try to turn those features, the experience of being active and getting rewarded and more voting power for that, and building something that we can extend to other communities.
That's exciting.
I think a good I think you can look at like the Nouns Invitational vote from last year where Nikki won. And obviously, with our upcoming Nouns Invitational, we'll be having somebody selected to attend through a vote as well. And it's I think I'm okay teasing this, guys, but like I think we talked about this earlier in a meeting just even today that people who attended our Smash events throughout the year will have like greater voting power in deciding who is going to the Nouns Invitational. So it's kind of this proof of community member in a way. Like you're proving that, hey, I'm attending events. Hey, I'm out there with the community. And like in turn, you should have a greater say in like who is going to be at this kind of like marquee event, this once in a generation tournament. So yeah, I think like building systems like that where the community is rewarded for their passion, I think that's a huge, enablement in esports.
Oh yeah, I mean we haven't even touched on Nouns Invitational this year. I feel like that's a pretty big thing. One a major in Japan for the first time ever. Has it happened before?
About 20 years ago, yeah, there's Jack's Garden.
Okay, yeah, wow, that took 20 years. So it's been a while. So the fact that we're back is a huge deal. Um, and so many of the top players are gonna be there. Some are trying to get there, but it's so competitive. Everybody wants to get there. Um, and we have that exhibition match at Nouns Invitational that Ohan, you could probably speak a little more too. I think you were the mastermind behind that.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is such a cool tournament. Like, obviously, we did Nouns Invitational in New York City last year, and that was really great. Like, believe it or not, New York City actually has not had a major in New York City in a long time, right? So even though normally we hop across the pond and go to Collision, right? I still think that was a really special tournament for the locals over there. But looking towards Japan, right, like that's something that really, I mean, nobody, alive has done, right? At least in the Smash community, right? Like even someone like Hungry Box, for example, who's been playing forever, never ever competed in Japan, right? So it's such an amazing opportunity. It's something where towards the end of last year, I was like, guys, I know it's possible. Like, let's just do it, right? I think this will be a super duper cool thing. I think everybody will be excited. Let's just do it, and we'll figure it out. Um, and so we've been working with Watch over there. If any of you guys know VGBC Watch, who's the GOAT, absolute legend of the industry. But yeah, I'm really excited for it, and I'm really excited to see that everybody else is excited for it, right? And Axe and all these players telling me when they go to tournaments that they're going to try like extra hard because they want to go to Japan, like that. That's what makes it super worth it for me. And so yeah, I'm unbelievably hyped for the tournament for sure.
It's really important in esports to establish narrative. And if I had like one critique of Smash, it's kind of that it lacks like a great narrative. I think the main narrative is like where you end up ranking at the end of the year on like the top 100 or however deep the rankings go. But and I know Genesis is like the biggest tournament, so that's like kind of the championships of the year, but it's also at the beginning of the year, so it's like it's not really like I don't know, it's just unclear, right? So like I hope that with this event, how we're, kind of allowing people to qualify, we have an event in April, an event in June, an event in the fall, right? And then, a couple vote-ins, right? A last chance qualifier in Japan. This event ideally, not to just like tell everyone else their tournament doesn't matter, but I'm saying what this is supposed to be like that championship sort of caliber event where you figure out who is the best melee player of the year.
Yeah, it works in conjunction with the rankings too, because the rankings do end at the end of the year. So, I mean, the winner of Nouns Invitational, definitely gonna be putting a nice little stamp on their resume.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we saw that last year with J-Book, right? I mean, Jake won Nouns Invitational. I think he probably got bumped up a little bit because of that. But I also think it's just so cool because like no one has that on their legacy, right? Like nobody has that on their resume winning a tournament in Japan. There are traditionally very, very few non-North America melee majors, right? Like occasionally there might be one in Europe or Australia, but it's unbelievably rare, right? Let alone one in Japan. I think especially stuff like I know you mentioned the Kim versus Bomb Soldier set earlier. I think all that stuff just really builds it to this event that I think is going to be really special. Who knows if we'll ever get to do something like this again in Japan? So I really just appreciate like everybody's going all out to make it significant, and especially just to get to go. Like I said, I think that's really really important. I know that like for example, it was really funny, and I've been joking with Axe about this a lot because Axe he's trying to go so bad, and apparently Laud didn't even know about the Japan spots that tipped off, and he just got one, and that's like been like salt and Axe's wound for a while. And I think it's just so funny that he's like the exception that he had no idea, and it was just a pleasant surprise. So
I wonder if that made him play better because everybody else probably playing so nervous, like, oh
yeah,
no, if I lose this, I don't go to Japan. And Law's just like playing a regular tournament per usual, clocking in. Uh, that's so funny
So
that he didn't
I
know.
still feel
Dr.
bad
Laud.
for Moth, who got like like fourth at Nouns
Moff
Bowl.
got fourth and didn't make it. Yeah, that was brutal. Yeah, that was absolutely brutal.
Yeah, it might have been the second best run an Ice Climbers player did in Modern Melee. Unfortunately, the first best run happened to be by Nikki that tournament. Or I mean, you could also say, "Don't park on the grass." But yeah,
Yeah, there was pretty fitting that event. I think Nouns Bowl, which is pretty funny, where it was kind of we invited the top 8 players in the world, right? And then rank 9 and rank 10, being Joshua and Nikki respectively, both qualified, right? Which I thought was pretty poetic. That now all of the top 10 ranked people were slotted to be attending the event post Nouns Bowl. And then tipped off was, I think, just completely different, right? It was two people who weren't even close to being projected to make it to the event, and Crudo and Laud, right? Crudo, of course, going on a crazy run, getting third at the tournament, beating multiple top 10 players, right? And then Laud being like the 22nd seed coming out of nowhere, I think beating yourself, beating Axe, going on just another crazy run. So beating Triff, like that was
Yeah.
really, really unexpected. So.
I'm always a Laud believer. That man has been beating me for 15 years. I cannot beat him in Super Smash Brothers, and it was very validating to see him go on that run and beat everybody else too.
Do not fade doctors who play esports. That's what I'm learning. Like if they're a doctor, they have a doctor in their name. Just don't fade them.
Yeah, I mean the fact that he's working doctor hours and also competing in Melee is it's wild to me.
Does that make you like more mad when you lose to them? Like this guy's a doctor and I'm losing to this guy.
Well, he's a genius. That's probably why I'm losing to him.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Just a genius.
Yeah, well, at least you also have a job, June. Maybe the unemployed people, maybe they feel a little different about the situation.
That's fair. But yeah, no, very exciting stuff in the nouns verse for I think qualifying players, and we have another event that people can get in via. I believe 2 people are gonna get in via the fall event, or is it 1, 2?
2 people, yeah, two
Yeah,
people at
yeah.
every event. So we had 2 at Nouns Bowl, 2 at Tipped Off, 2 at our third event, which will be announced very soon, depending on when we post this. And then we also have the vote-in spot, which is going to be something upcoming, which I'm also really excited for, right? Because I feel like that is one where, regardless of who you are, regardless of really how you place, where you're from, you have just this shot to get to go to Japan, which I think is pretty special and magical, and it's kind of, an homage to the Smash Summit days, right, where people got
Yeah.
to campaign and chill and try and get in through that. So.
No, I'm super excited to see what the community has to offer in terms of campaigning. It's one of those times where you get to see like rare content from people that wouldn't normally make content. So I want to see the Sunsei vids. Like I want to see.
We get a Junebug proposal.
I mean, I'm already going. So, but maybe it would be nice to go as a competitor. So maybe.
I mean, we can change that. We can change that. I know a guy.
No, please. I mean, it would be nice to compete at that invitational. Maybe am I even allowed? Is that part of the rules? Am I allowed to enter?
No rules.
There's no rules.
Yeah, this is a free for all.
Folks, we make up the rules, and I'm learning this just now. Yeah, no, that would be pretty exciting though if I could enter. Because I haven't really.
I'm voting for JChew, so I'm just letting you know I'm voting for JChew.
Okay, but I gotta vote for JChew though. I want to see, and that's like another cool thing I like missed about the summit voting style is you really get to highlight like all these different players. JChew, for those who are not aware, is a prodigy, a child prodigy. I believe he's 2019. So good at Pikachu. One of the fastest Pikachus you ever see. He changed my idea of like how naring into the corner was supposed to work. I thought it would be bad because there's no more stage left there. But turns out if you teeter cancel everything, it's actually fine. You just have to, use a technique that most people have not implemented in the 20 plus years span of competitive Melee, which is meta changing strategies like that, it's always exciting for me to see.
But the three of us have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's okay. I got it, June.
A
It's okay.
teeter
I appreciate it.
cancel is okay. Do you know like what an edge cancel is?
Not the
Okay.
time for this.
Smash
Okay.
smash lesson.
No. So
it's because we're talking about Nouns Invitational stuff, but like we are hosting this third event, and if people want to like support us, right, the best way for them to do so is to obviously attend our events. But if they can't attend our events, watching online is great. But while you're watching online, you can also be engaging on Nouns GG, whether that's a round or prediction. For example, we're going to have some new features rolling out specifically for Nouns Invitational in December. So, join our Discord server, be a part of the community, engage with what we're trying to do, right? We're not trying to leave Smash anytime soon. We're going to stick around as long as we can. And yeah, everybody that supports makes a difference.
Yeah, just to add to that, like, Nouns Invitational in Japan is certainly not a profit-seeking endeavor. We're just like doing it because it's fucking awesome, and like, when are we ever gonna have the chance to host a tournament in Japan again? Who the hell knows? So, Melee community, please like just show up and let's just try to make this as awesome as possible. Give us as much energy as you can, and like we're in turn just trying to like serve the best event of all time to everyone. And like, I know Ohan is literally like a sleepless agent of Smash. Like he just was, I don't know, like robot mode, just grinding nonstop on improving Melee. And honestly, like that's something that like I think we as like this collective want to, do in Melee in general, is just like we want to just grow the pie. We want to make Melee a bigger game and a better scene, and help it just develop further and be the best it can be. And there's so many people across the world that have nostalgia for Melee, and it was one of those last games before like the online era. So what other games do you have like this immense nostalgia, like sitting next to your buddies on the couch, eating some pizza, playing some like games? That's few and far between these days. So all that being said, it's like we're just a bunch of dudes trying to make cool stuff happen, and appreciate your support.
yeah, Super Smash Brothers is one of the best-selling casual games of all time. And so it has a widespread appeal that the competitive community just happened to like tap into. Like everybody happened to be doing this thing, and turns out it's actually very intricate and deep and can be explored further. So there's I always like that phrase that you throw out, Sass, that the pie could be bigger, because I truly believe that for competitive Melee and Smash in general.
It's a beautiful game with a super high skill ceiling. Like, something else I love this. I've told this to like a bunch of pros, probably you too, June. Like, I just love that Melee is so hard that people just like fall off the stage and die from their own like volition. Like they're just like, I am pressing my buttons as best as I can. I'm trying to hit all these combos, and like, sometimes the stage just gets the better of me, and I just like fast fall off the side.
I SD all the time. It is crazy. I've been playing Smash competitively for what, 15 years? Wait, 17 years now. Oh my god. Yeah, that's so long. And I still self-destruct all the time. I have 10,000 plus hours, and this game is so difficult, and it's part of what makes it so rewarding.
Yeah, that's the best.
It's called self-destruct. Is that because it's like taboo to say suicide?
Yes, for sure. Yes,
yeah,
that is 100% why.
We just don't call it suicide.
I've never heard
in the
it,
game,
everybody
the game calls it SDs. The game calls it SDs when you go to the results screen.
What is Nintendo? So they say it's
That's what I'm saying. In the game, it says SDs. It's self-destruct. Yeah.
Self-destruct.
Oh, okay. That makes sense then.
Like in Melee. Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, but I think one of the cool things we haven't really highlighted yet is I really think the Nouns Invitational this year is such a cool event because we're really bringing Melee to a community that is not traditionally exposed to it, funny enough, right? Despite the fact the game originates from there, There's so many people in Tokyo that play Melee. I went there. I went to a local, right? But they've never seen a Zane Cody Grand Finals, right? They've never seen a Hungry Box pop off, and like I think getting to kind of bring that to those people, like who knows what that could spark in them, right? Who knows what that means to them? Like we already have so many quote retweets and replies and stuff, and people posting and messaging us in Japanese. Maybe people that say like, "Hey, I don't even play Melee anymore," right? I think Captain Jack quote retweeted us, right? Like it's just a pretty magical thing, I think, and I'm really happy to get to bring this to people and that it means so much to them for sure.
Jack, the guy who hosted Jack's House 20 years ago.
Jack Sarton, that is the guy. Yeah, that is the guy where he lost to Bomb Soldier. I think he got like fourth or something, third, and then Bomb Soldier Ken played in Grands. So yeah.
Yeah. Captain Jack, also one of the first DKs. One of the first DKs to do it on the big stage. It's very, very impressed. But yeah. Oh, go ahead, Pete.
No, we're done.
Your mic is doing some weird stuff.
Yeah, it's being funny. Yeah. Anything else you guys want to chat about? I mean, it's been a good hour here.
Yeah. The I'm really excited about the Nouns Invitational, as Ohan pointed out. I think like narratively that all these Nouns events culminating in the first major in Japan in 20 years is just like a very cool thing. And as you said, Peter, if you want to, and Sess, if you want to support Nouns, please interact with the content, contribute to our Discord, use Nouns GG just as you normally would, and it would really help us out. And I believe there's also VIP passes for the Japan tournament. I don't know if we want to talk about those at all.
Come to Japan.
Yeah, you can hang out with all your favorite players, like me and Zane. And
I think this is like way more than just a tournament. Like I've never been to Japan before. I don't think Sam has either.
I haven't. Yeah.
June, a bunch of the players never been before. We're not just flying out for a weekend. We're flying out for a whole week. So we get there on Monday. We're hanging out, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, doing Japanese tourism things. And any of the, we sold a handful of VIPs at this point, and all those people are going to get to tag along with us and all of the players as we, go experience Japan. Most of us for the first time. So people always talk about Japan being like that vacation you have to do, right? Somebody comes back from Japan, they never stop talking about it, right? So, yeah, this is a great opportunity to just go see a hell of a Melee tournament, but also have the vacation of a lifetime, hopefully.
I am so excited to see Japan. I want to go to Nintendo World. I wanna go to a spa. I want to eat really good sushi, and then the cherry on top is that we're gonna have this amazing Melee event too. It's like, yeah, what more could you ask for?
It's gonna be a good time. Yeah.
Donkey Kong to win the tournament.
Oh my god.
Can you imagine?
It would be one of the wackiest things to ever happen for sure.
My YouTube VOD analytics, my senses are going off. Yes, DK good. Go DK.
All right.
Let's give us an outro, Mr. Host.
We could do closing thoughts. No.
I think we've done enough of those.
I think we're good.
Okay. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this talk and this foray into the minds behind Nouns. Please support us if you can. There's plenty of ways to do that, as we discussed, and we really appreciate it. Help us so we can help Melee continue doing cool stuff. And yeah, that's it. Final words, guys.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Awesome, June. Appreciate
Thanks. All right.
you. If you tuned in, appreciate you as well.
All right. I will stop the recording. All right, guys. Now I